Thank you everyone for coming to the session. We really appreciate your time here. It is a bit cold in this room, so we did ask them to turn down the air conditioning a little bit. We do have some cards up here. We have some more that are going to be coming down. I'll pass around just to make sure you have a general one about the organization, but we also have others specific to the presenters' organizations that we're working with. My name is Heather McDougall, and I'm the founder and director of the Global Institute for Leadership and Civic Development. And today what we wanted to do is to really highlight the benefits of study abroad and leadership. I know that some of your universities right now are probably putting a lot of pressure and saying that maybe traveling abroad is something that may need to be cut. But if you've been attending some of these panels over the last couple of days, particularly the one by Jeff on Dave's How News Study New Information talking about even short programs. So even something that is 0 to 6 months has a tremendous impact on students' cross-cultural competencies and development. And this is really exciting news because we've noticed, for how many of you have studied abroad before? I think you know it, right? Right. But it's really nice to see that we're putting some evidence to that. Our particular program, this will be our 12th year running it. We have been amazed by the talent of students that we have come across. We have had 700 students from over 75 different countries participate in the program thus far. The format of the program is rigorous academic courses. We feel that strong academics is a very important part of cross-cultural development, and paired with community service and cultural activity. But for us, again, the most important is this cross-cultural component of bringing together students from around the world. And our panelists here today are evidence of this creation of a true set of global leaders. And what I'm really excited for them to share with you is their project. What has been very important for us is this notion of inspiration, to take this experience and to do something with it, to give back in your particular way. And what each of the panelists have done today is, through their imagination, through their creativity, design something, a way for them to continue their leadership, to involve other people in their community, and as you'll see, actually work in cooperation with people from other countries. Is this easy? No. Does it often involve failure? Sometimes. Does it involve success? Absolutely. And so I'm really excited to introduce this panel. They are, I truly believe, very up-and-coming leaders. People, maybe you want to get autographs afterwards, right? Later on in life, but I don't want to take any further time, so I'd like to present our group of Global Leadership.
Thank you.
How's everybody doing? What? How is everybody doing? Great. So my name is Angel Acosta, and I used to be a student during the GOP program in 2007. And I want to thank Heather and Google. It was through Google that I found the program, and I applied, and luckily got accepted because of Heather. You can hold it there. So the program itself helps build certain attitudes and skills, and I have the privilege to kind of set the table for you for what my colleagues are going to present. So I'm going to talk about critical thinking, and then they'll kind of orient you in terms of how the program helps build intercultural sensitivity as an experiential learning opportunity, transform leaders to take their skills to the next level, and allow students to engage in networking across the globe. So in terms of critical thinking, wow. So I also got a chance to return as a student coordinator. So not only was I a student, but I was also a staff in our semester-long program. And during that program, I got a chance to kind of TA one of the classes, Philosophies of Leadership. And for those of you who study philosophy, you understand that philosophers have very different takes on the world. So could you imagine being in a room with 30 students from all over the world speaking about free will, power, human nature? So it was just intense. You should have seen one of the discussions we had on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The people from the Western Hemisphere and the Eastern Hemisphere had totally different perspectives. For example, we got into a 1-hour discussion about how that document, the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, is actually a little bit Eurocentric.
We should have it right there.
We should have it right there.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting. And we also took a course called International Relations. And through that course, we got invited to meet the Dalai Lama at a conference in Prague. And during that conference, which we're all groupies, we're like, guys! So, you know,
it worked out.
It worked out. Back to the critical thinking piece, in terms of how the program influenced me to think, and us. We're in this conference, and it's 400 people in the room. Václav Havel, former president of Czech Republic, is in front. The former president of South Africa is inside of the panel. Jody Williams, former Nobel Peace Prize winner, is in the left side, and Dalai Lama is right there. And I'm thinking, I'm like, wait, there's something wrong here. So I raised my hand. And I asked a question. Throughout the whole day, we've been asking about what does it take to improve human rights in Asia. But nobody mentioned multinational corporations. So I asked the question, like, when are they going to be brought into the conversation? And this is the type of critical thinking that the program actually pushes us to do. You know, really look at issues and try to bring all the players in. And so I'll leave it there in terms of critical thinking. And I want to show, this is a picture of a few friends of mine. It's me, Vanessa, Matthias, and Rob in Haiti. Part of our program is we push our students to develop a project from mission statement to budget. And after I graduated, I created a project right after the earthquake to go down to Haiti and just deliver simple supplies like razors, deodorant, toothbrush. And we went down there for a week. During our spring break, we paid for everything. And we got a chance to go to 3 villages, Madame Roger, and Banak, actually too. And we had a Creole translator, and we went down there and just had this impact. And this little girl, I had a conversation with her. I was, what are you supposed to say? But this is the kind of impact that our students are making in the world. And not only this is just one project that I did. This is another initiative that I actually work for a nonprofit in New York. It's called House for Every Student. And we basically target underserved youth who don't get access to higher education because their families haven't had it yet. So we basically go to public schools and talk to them about how to get there. And I developed a project to take these students to Prague. And it's basically the Global Youth Leadership Retreat. And it's really taking kids out of their underserved or underprivileged or underrepresented context and bringing them here. And having them kind of look at themselves as leaders and taking their skills, critical thinking skills, leadership development to the next level. And it's really about paying homage, thank you, Heather, to the GLP program. The same model, just taken to the high schools and giving them a transformational experience with community service, international travel, leadership development, and critical thinking. And lastly, I'll keep it short because I want to hear what you all think, and I want to hear my colleagues. Leadership development. Through Paola Gomez, she's one of our other students who's going to be presenting in a few. I actually selected her to help me come on board, to come to Prague during the summer and actually do what she does best, life coaching. And she's going to be able to sit with each student and develop their skills on a personal level. And we actually raised $14,000. We got an organization to sponsor us. We're ready to go. But one of the challenges was liability insurance. So we couldn't go this summer. But we have an organization right now that's willing to, take the full hit in terms of insurance. And they're hopefully by the next week we're going to talk about negotiation contracts. And by next summer we're going to have 10 high school students from the New York City area with us in Prague developing leadership skills. So I want to leave it like that. In my experience, but you will be blown away by the following colleagues. And lastly, look at that beautiful smile. What I want to do in Taora with our project is build a community of leaders like Heather does, like this. Vibrant leaders that are actually changing the world at the local and grassroots level. Pretty good. Thank you.
experience all in one. These are experiences that we live in the Global Leadership Program and are extremely important. That is why we want to give the opportunity to other people to experience it as well. Personally, at the beginning of the program, I wanted to work with an indigenous group. I thought that was the need. One faces through one's experience that sometimes what you think is the need is no longer a need. And you have to search first, what are your interests and passions? What it is that you as a person can offer to others. And you learn that through experiences such as community service. You get out of your comfort zone. You take a challenge. You make bonds by working side to side with people from all over the world. People that may have different points of view, but that at the end of the day, you're sharing the same experience. You're going through a process together in which you discover yourself, take leadership of yourself, and in that way are able to use that experience to give that capacity to other people around you in your community. So, this experience of learning is something that starts in the classroom, but it only starts there. GLP teaches you how to take action. And it's that action, the experience of going out there and creating a project from zero, being able to brainstorm and then see it happen, doesn't have a price tag. And it's something that we believe that is necessary nowadays in order to build those leaders of the future. And a leader is not necessarily going to be a president or a CEO. But it's someone that is going to take the responsibility to make change, to be that catalyst of change in their community. Sometimes we face obstacles. You know? That was a silly situation. We had to fill up a tube full of holes with water with a bucket full of holes. And at the end of the day, you learn that sometimes to be a leader, you need to know how to take other roles that are not only those of leadership. To be a leader, you also need to know how to follow instructions, how to go out there and trust the team that you can build. A team that maybe in other situations you wouldn't even have had into consideration. But through activities such as the ones that we did here, filling up a tube with water, you learn that out there are different qualities that you would have never taken into consideration. And now you're inspired to bring them along with you in your life and have them as tools. This is also very inspirational for me in the fact that once I lived this with the Global Leadership Program, and I had the opportunity to come to ILA last year in Prague, I said, I've always wanted to be a life coach. I've wanted to help people become what they want to become, achieve their goals and dreams. And then I said, well, if I want to help others do this, why don't I do it myself? And instead of waiting until I was 30 or 45 to become a life coach, I decided, well, my goal is for next ILA, I'll be a life coach. And here I am in front of you. Now I want to share that knowledge and those tools with you guys. And I believe that GLP gives you that experience to go out there, take action, and create the life experiences for you and those that surround you. Making the community that you belong to one that has a better quality of life for you and those to come. So I hope you guys get the opportunity to be part of this. And one of the most important things, not only in the classroom, not only in the activities, but everywhere you go, is networking. And that is something that Sebastian is going to talk to you about.
Hey, nice to meet you, everybody. It's a pleasure having you here. My name is Sebastian Arias. I'm from Colombia. So I'm going to talk about networking, and I want to ask you, how many of you have a real friend in Rwanda, for example? Raise your hand. Just one or two, three. Well, what if I tell you that I do have a real good friend in Rwanda, in Nigeria, in Sierra Leone, and I have never been in those countries before in my life? What if I tell you that one of my good friends is a prize winner of the Clinton University for working with malnutrition in Nepal? And I'm not talking only about people that you meet through Facebook, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people use Facebook or Twitter just to meet other persons, which is not bad at all. But I'm talking about real friendship. Friendship that you build through every single day of living with that person, sharing all kind of experience, happy experience, sad experience, all kind of moments. This is me in Boulder in 2008. I had the opportunity in 2008 to talk with one of my professors in my home university in Colombia. And she told me, hey, Sebastian, I see you have this profile of, you can apply for this really good program. I would like you to do that. And by the way, the deadline is tomorrow. And you need to write an essay with 300 words. Don't get scared, it's not that bad. It's really easy if you actually feel the passion about leadership. So I say, okay, I'm going to do it. I want to go for it. And I apply, and it's one of the great decisions, one of the best decisions I have ever taken in my life, because that took me to the place that I'm right here, right now. First it was Boulder in 2008. Then it was Prague in 2009 for a whole semester. And then it was GOP Panama this year, which I'm glad I have a lot of people that was a part of this great project and still being part of this project. So what I want to tell you is that once you start building this great family, through this, that happened to me through this great program, which is the Global Leadership Program, you never stop. I have brothers and sisters in Pakistan, Russia, in Afghanistan, in Mexico, all over the place. And we support each other. And we maintain our communication all the time. We not only talk about our personal issues, but we also talk about what projects are you developing in your community over there. What's going on in Africa? What's going on in Asia? What's going on here in South America or in North America? And that way I get to know what's going on all over the world. It's not only friends, but it's actually a family that you start building through the Global Leadership Program, through the opportunity of living with a person, not only into the classroom, but also sharing a moment, drinking a coffee, having a dinner together. Those kind of things that actually make you feel a relationship and a real connection with another person. And I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, because ILA is also a great example of that. I had the opportunity to participate in ILA last year in Prague for the first time, and I see some familiar faces right now, and it's so great because I'm actually now feel that you people are part of my family now. Do you like it or not?
The annoying brother.
So I get the Colombian pepper. So that's what I want to communicate to you. Networking is not only about professional, but also about personal relationships that they stay for the rest of your life. And you can take advantage of it in a good way anytime you want. And with that, I want to say welcome to Virginia. I'm going to talk about how this network complement with intercultural sensitivity.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for those familiar faces, for our family here supporting us like always. I am going to talk about intercultural sensitivity. GOP, oh my God. I had a classroom of human rights with 38 people where 20 countries were represented. Talking about human rights, an issue that is so sensitive. Imagine having all these personalities with all these different points of view, all these ideas, all this cultural background, giving their opinions about one same topic. And that is something that I got so much out of GLP. Learning so much about different points of view in one classroom without having to go to that country to have that experience. And then becoming tolerant. Tolerant to different personalities, tolerant to different points of view that maybe were against mine, and tolerant to become also a follower and a leader. To take into account that everybody in that classroom was part of my team. And all of their opinions had a very important value. And they call me the GLP addict or fun. Because I've been to GLP Prague summer 2008, which was my first multicultural experience. The first time I got to meet people from Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Montenegro. And then afterwards, I got the chance to coordinate GLP Berlin, which was an amazing class. Everything we learned in class, and later on got to see it in Berlin. And then I had the chance to coordinate Prague semester program. That's where I met these people at the table, like Heather, who I knew before. And some of the people in the audience, we have a lot of GLP alumni, so I recommend all of you afterwards to talk to all of us if you want to know a little bit more about other projects that are not necessarily in the table. And I want to invite Sarah, who was my partner in crime, that I met in GLC Prague semester. And like Angel and Paola said, part of the class is to develop a project, to learn how to put your leadership skills into action. So we are both from Colombia, not very multicultural, and we both have a very common goal, and that is that we saw the lack of leadership education in Latin America, back in our region. Being young, we saw that people our age were losing hope on our leaders, and were losing hope on themselves. They didn't think they could be leaders either. So coming together, we created powerful duo. That's our powerful duo. And we put our ideas down into paper, and we created an organization called Latin America Unida. And like I said, this was the idea of targeting this lack of leadership education in Latin America and bring a program like the Global Leadership Program and many more to Latin America.
So, thank you, Bridget. Latin America Unida is an incubator of leaders and social entrepreneurs from Latin America. It's people that doesn't have the privilege to come to this amazing opportunity like the ILA or the GOP program. And we think everybody has to get this opportunity of learning what leadership is and empower them to tell them you don't have to keep being a follower all the time. You can also be a leader in your community, in your society, and that's what we want to do. We want to identify who are those leaders, we want to support them, and make them create a project, which is something we learned from GLP also. As Angel was saying, he took the model from GLP to his project. We're doing kind of the same thing. Thank you, Heather, for letting us do that. And it's not only what you learn in class, it's not going to stay there. You have to take action, because that's the way you prove you're actually a leader. And what we want to do is teach these kids what is leadership, what is to be a social entrepreneur, and how you can apply that in your home community, in your own community.
So we had the opportunity to bring the first GLP program, not to Latin America. It was supposed to take place in Monterrey, Mexico. But unfortunately, because of reasons that are beyond our hands, it couldn't take place there. But we weren't going to lose that chance of having a GLP in Latin America. So we said, Heather, let's all come together and make it in Panama. I live in Panama, from Colombia, but I live in Panama. I was living in Panama. And then Panama is a very geographical location, very secure. We wanted everybody in Panama. So presented a project proposal, and we're going to do GLPs in Panama with the same class and the same structure that was going to take place in Madrid. The only thing that was going to change was the location. So we have a group of 20 students from 7 different countries. The U.S., we have from Mexico, we have from Guatemala, El Salvador, Venezuela, Colombia, and Panama. And the program was 2 weeks. Our professors were from Mexico, from the University of Monterrey.
Alma, who's taking a picture. And Umberto, the student coordinator too.
Raise your hand, please.
And although, if we can go back to the pictures, I want to show something. Slide before. We did the Lanzate retreat, which is also we adopted from the University of Monterrey, and we had to do very funny things like this, like that, and like that. That's Pancracio.
Yeah.
Not here today, but
That's all part of the experience.
And it was a great experience, and it was the first time we had the chance to unite leaders in Latin America, and then what we did was through a volunteer work, we had our first experience in the main idea that our project had, which was make leadership accessible for all. And I will teach other leaders that cannot afford to study abroad program or to come to the ILA, how to teach them about leadership. So our group in GLP Panama, we went to Movimiento Nueva Generación, which is an organization in Panama that helps in 2 very poor neighborhoods called Chorrillo and Curundú. They help children after class, giving them dance lessons, music lessons, graphic design, using the computer, and theater. So instead of them going home being by themselves and maybe joining camps, they go home and do extracurricular things. So the staff of this organization is young leaders just like us. The only difference is they can't afford to study abroad. If they can't afford to study abroad, we brought the program to them. We went to the organization and we had great experience. We did Alánzate, so we did all of those activities with them, and they enjoyed it, and they were very, very thankful with us, and they were amazed about all the things they learned in only 1 day, and they want to continue to learn. And another thing that happened in GLP Panama that was very important was in the class, the leaders in the class took the initiative to create a network of leaders in Latin America called AUI, Americans United for Leadership. So they now stay in touch through blogs, Facebook, and they're each starting a project back in their country and sharing it with everybody.
Not only Latin America, but all North America and Central America. Oh yeah. So when you decide or you realize you're a leader, I'm pretty sure you all know this, you find some obstacles that we prefer to call them challenge. And of course we have some of those. One of them were recruiting and credibility. I'm 23, Virginia is 21, and knock on the door and tell a university, okay, we want you to support us in this great project we have. They say, as John Lennon say, you can say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. So we were no lucky that we got the chance to show them we were actually people that were willing to give everything from us. And that's the way we start recruiting people, and we got the credibility from the university, the Quality Leadership University, and the University of Monterrey, that through Umberto, Alma, and all the team, make this project possible. We also have personal goals. Thanks God, we're working at the United Nations, Virginia, and we also have to dedicate time for work, obviously. So I work in the Information Center, Virginia works in La FAO, and we have our personal projects, but we also have to come together to say, okay, we have to give this time for the project, because even though we're having we're achieving our personal goals, we also have a common goal, and it's our son. I mean, in a good way, because we're not a couple, and we have to take care of it. And those obstacles became a challenge, and that's how GOP became real.
And then always funding is always an issue, especially for a project that is our main target is the less privileged, so it has to be fully funded. So we are still working on that, but like Sal says, we like to call it a challenge, not an obstacle. It's one of those things you really have to work yourself through them or around them. But I'm pretty sure we're going to start getting some funding and keep on going with our organization. And like Sal says, we are both, whenever we're not thinking about GLP or Latin America Unida, doesn't mean we're stopping from being leaders. We are leaders at home. We are leaders in our workplace. We are leaders on everything we do. And so I am currently working in the Food and Agriculture Organization, like Sarah said. It's a full-time job. I'm also graduating in December from undergrad. It's a full-time study job. And then leadership is a full-time job too. So it's practically like if I was working 3 jobs at one time. So of course it's a lot of pressure. Sometimes it can be very tough. But it's the outcome of, for example, having the role here is what drives you to continue. And
no, I mean, you have to.
We move now. Obstacle.
Too many words in the room. Contact.
So, we are also, I mean, like you can see in the pictures, we've
been working in many campaigns that we had the chance to in Panama. For example, that one was standing against poverty. That the UN does that campaign every year all around the world. So right there, I'm with the little girls just standing against poverty. You also participate in the campaign of the
1 billion hungry. So we've been very active. We've tried to stay active back in our community, participate in some campaigns, and organizing different events. And right here we have a picture in ILA last year, because ILA was one of the biggest driving forces for us to do so much this year. And it was getting the chance to volunteer last year and getting to meet so many leaders, so many good speakers, and so many good advices that we have taken into account to keep on going.
As we say, as Juana was saying yesterday, it is our time. I think not only for Latinos but for the young people. I mean, it is our time to stand up and say, we're taking control, but in a good way. We're gonna help, and we're not gonna wait until the government or the people that is sitting over there in a big desk take action and make the decisions. We are the decisions right now. We are the ones who have to take action right now. And thanks to GOP and ILA, we're being able to do it.
And just to conclude, and we'll pass to comments, questions, suggestions, and more comments from the table, is that I think one of the main important things about GLP and leadership programs and conferences for leadership like ILA and like a future conference I would want to hold is that getting to know each other's projects, and instead of competing, sharing. We all learn from experiences. We're all here. Practically everybody in the audience that has participated in a GLP is from Latin America. And we're all having projects. And I don't say, hey, you're stealing my participants. No, the country, how can I help you? Can I participate too? So that's kind of the essence of bringing so many leaders together in one place, is to learn from everybody's experiences. And that's why in this moment we're going to have to share with you. We would also like you to give us advice. Because some of you have way more experience than us. And so we are really going to be appreciating all of your advice, suggestions that we can take into account to carry on with our project. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
on that line, I want to share one more thing with you guys. If it weren't because of collaboration, the collaboration that we see here in ILA, in roundtables, in workshops, in all sorts of the presentations that we have, or the collaboration of my partner here, of Angel, to go out there and reach out and say, hey, you can actually help me in New York set up a project to take them to Prague. Let's see how this works. And maybe further along the line, we can bring Panamanians as well. If it weren't for that collaboration that has no boundaries, the changes wouldn't occur. And these changes are changes that happen without boundaries. They are what we want to call a good virus. We want this to spread. We want this to be an addiction, because positive change should be the norm and not the exception. Taking leadership is what we're here to do. And we all have different passions and interests, but at the end of the day, that we support each other to achieve those goals, that we're making a difference. This is what we're here to do. Grow and contribute to the communities we're part of, become part of new communities, and inspire. I mean, here Angel inspired me to see that I can do the same in Panama. And currently, one of my projects is to work with at-risk youth that have been involved in drugs, that have been coming from backgrounds where they see violence in their own homes, and giving them the opportunity through coaching and leadership to see that they have another option, that it's not what is imposed on them, but what they can get out from themselves and decide upon themselves to become. So thanks to the tools that Heather has given to us through the Global Leadership Program and with professors such as Alma, and the connection with people like you, Cynthia, Gama, Juana, I mean our fellow students, Gami, Humberto, everybody here. I mean, there's not enough names, because at the end of the day, we're one single force, and we appreciate that you're here being part of all this. So,
we structured our presentation to allow 20 minutes for question and answers, and maybe some suggestions. So the floor is yours now to ask us or make any comments.
go ahead.
Thank you very much for that. I think such programs are wonderful and powerful. I mean, enriching one's experience. I've participated in big functions in such programs, and what I would like to ask one of the biggest suggestions, the programs that I attended were more focused on that you were first introduced to all strata of society. So you go to a specific locality, and you're introduced to orphanages, you have corporate briefings with indigenous people, you stay at host families, and your governmental briefings, and then you're put based on your interest and your background in a specific project that can be a mutually enriching opportunity for both parties, and where you can talk to the grassroots and the bottom-up, the top-down interactions. And I wonder, I just seems like this is more great, like voluntary volunteer work in specific studio or NGO, and it would be really valuable to kind of incorporate that introductory intensive form of training into specific localities.
Okay. Where are you from? Sorry?
I'm from the Netherlands, but I live in Australia. I live everywhere.
Perfect. Global citizen.
Around the world.
Yes?
Actually, really inspiring. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and I work for United Women, and last week leadership programs, one of which that excites and really nice community is for young leaders. It's called the Care Institute for Toronto Young Leaders. It's an institute in leadership, and we have 17 different organizations that play a role. I think the potential of your work is global. And one of the things that I see in young people, wherever they are, is strategy to try to categorize issues global and local. For them, be local and global to global. So one suggestion that you might want to explore is how do you
kind of what exists in different cities that's run on local issues. That would be almost like a lab for you to take some of the ideas and projects that you're working globally. And also potentially recruit, engage, and massive network activities, some of the city-based leadership initiatives that might happen, such as the one and so on.
What's your name?
My name is Amanda.
We have, that's a great comment. Just to add to what you're saying, we had this one course on social entrepreneurship that challenged us to actually do community surveys and surveys of corporations or organizations that were doing similar work to the work that we're going to be doing. So kind of like stuff like that. So I appreciate that.
And actually, after the Boulder program, Sebastian kind of did that thing where you looked at your community to find out what local issue was important, and then you became involved.
Oh, yeah. Thanks to a really good professor that we had in GLP Boulder. His name is Scott Sherman, and he works with transformer reaction. He teaches how to make a blueprint, a project proposal, and then to develop it in our community. And I started working with the recyclers in Cali, Colombia, and we actually keep working. It's been 2 years work now, and it's been amazing because you actually see how you can apply what you learn in class with these kind of vulnerable communities that are not too far from what you know.
Yeah?
Yes.
My name is Luis. I am calling from Salt Lake City, Utah, but I actually grew up in Guatemala. And I actually appreciate what you guys are doing. I think that's actually one of the biggest issues in Latin America, too. Latin leadership and leadership development. My question is actually more like a clarifying question. It's a question for you guys. So the type of program they have here is fascinating, other than the similar programs as well. I get the idea, and perhaps you can clarify, because you guys are an example. You're guys that are simple of what the program is, but you might not represent everything. So I get the idea here that, there's different ways to change the world, right, for change to happen. You have radical transformational change. It may happen from grassroots. It may happen from outside the systems, right? Social entrepreneurship. But there's also leadership needed, I guess, from rather more conservative things as well. Perhaps working in government and learning how to influence yourself and influence government around you for change to happen, right? To be a little bit more globally minded. I'm wondering whether me, as a prospective student of the GLP, is the sort of change that I'm learning about mostly radical, or does it involve a conservative change? Is it something that if I was an engineer and I wanted to change the world environmentally through my own engineer chain, test or something, right? Is this sort of thing that I'm also going to be part of this umbrella, or is this umbrella specifically radical, social, on the ground change?
Actually, I would like to take this question because one of the projects that I have working with at-risk youth is a proposal for the government of Panama. And they are now reaching out for young leaders to take upon such projects. So it's not going against anyone. It's not trying to change the status quo in the sense of, oh, if they're the leaders, they're bad. No, it's trying to be part of a change that comes as a whole. It's changing the structures that need to evolve. And also, as my friends here are doing, you create other things that can be complementary to those entities that are already existent in society. It's not going against, it's always trying to cooperate and trying to see what is best out there. And you say engineering, for example. This program is not focused on international relations or social workers. It is focused upon every single type of discipline that is out there, because every single discipline has a purpose. And each person, with their discipline, with their passion, can be part of that positive change that is needed.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
I would recommend you look at GLP as a springboard for you to create whatever project you want in whatever field you are in. For example, look at some of our alumni. Cesar Francia right now is working for the Supreme Court Judge Sotomayor as a legal aid. So he's already in the government. You also have Lemer Tejeda, She's in NYU Law School, but she created a program to help students in the Dominican Republic learn financial literacy. So, students are doing different things, but I see your question.
For us,
I
I
just
think
interject something. I'm the instructor I've stated a couple of times, and I want to speak to something that you said. There are people of all political stripes, religion, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, conservative, liberal, so the whole spectrum. I teach this course. Byron here is about to get a job with an oil company. He's from Australia. So there's a broad range of different people with different ideas. So there's not a particular ideology that's necessarily taught other than who am I, how can I go back and change my community. In my business class, for instance, the class this morning was social capitalism. So we may touch on that subject as well as talk about the financial crisis and those types of things and how they're impacting us. And the thing that I would say that impressed me and impresses me most about the program is in a time where we're in a global community and most people take a study abroad program and they go with people from their own school and they basically go and party for a couple weeks. This is truly multicultural program with differences of opinion. We have a professor in religious studies from this last year. He's a Princeton grad. He went to Washington College. He was blown away in his class at the perspective that people had from all over the world. He'd never experienced anything like that before. I think that really enhances the students' their experience.
Umberto wants to add something.
Hi, I was part with Virgin and Sarah as part of the GOP program in 2009 and in the PANA program where we were designing and working together. And one of the most important things of the GOP program is diversity. The diversity that you get to see just opens up your mind. We have these experiences of going to places that you've never thought you'd see before, and then that experience of seeing it on the ICT of a person that was in the program, that he goes, you know what, this was like this, no, I felt it like that, oh yeah, you're right, you start changing up this idea, and perhaps, you were thinking at first that, no, we have to go against the system, or we have to change this is the radical change that we need to do, and then you realize that, no, we're doing it the right way, we just need to push a little bit further on this part, and then you start, understanding different ways that things actually work. This diversity is perhaps one of the most valuable things that children provide.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Any other question?
Yes.
Hey.
Thank you very much. Thank you for telling me. Several things came up. A month ago, I was in a meeting where I had the chance to meet professors from American Bank. And the whole time we were talking about the leadership program for Latin America, I kept thinking about some of the issues he brought up and the questions he had. And I thought, how amazing would it be to have your program be brought to the attention of political, business, and non-profit sector, because in Latin America, they know what's happening. And I don't know how much of what you're doing has been brought to the awareness of high-level leaders in the Americas together. And one of the issues I thought would maybe help, because you talk about traditional funding and different, have any of the graduate programs written competitions, essay competitions that highlight their experiences, where they could win prizes that would allow exposure. Because I'm thinking of different things that I'd ask you to submit to have the program recognized and have the fellows recognized, so then the network grows and the credibility grows with it.
Okay.
And so that's something that I would encourage global essay competitions that allow that to happen, and then give it credibility and funding.
That's very important.
Very important. Well, last year in Prague semester, in our social entrepreneurship class, they teach us how to develop a blueprint, but also how to put it into practice. And part of that is giving us different
options of funds and that we can apply to. One of them was the Echoing Green organization, which is it takes place, it's a contest that takes place every year, and young leaders present their projects, and at the end, well, it varies from year to year depending on how much funds they have, but there's usually around 10 winners. We all submitted our projects. Unfortunately, didn't make it.
Not this year.
But, exactly, not this year. But we are trying to get as much involved in all of this project as much as possible. However, I think one of the other challenges is that there are so many competitions, essays like that you can apply to, but they're usually for other countries. In Latin America, it's a bit hard to get governments to fund projects like this. So it's more about, we're trying to get more into like Echoing Green. There's also, for example, we applied for the Creative Leadership scholarship to come to ILA. So we are trying to participate as much as possible and get to know as much as possible. Angel has participated in a lot of fundraising things, if you want to tell.
She's a fundraising genius.
Not genius, not at all. But, so I raised $40,000 for my project, and what I did was I would go to local Rotary clubs, or local Lions Club, or local. I even did a poem once in a poetry. Seriously, I got up in it was a poetry slam, and then I got a bucket. I got a little bucket, and I said, hey, after my poem, if you feel inspired, I want you to drop $1 in this bucket. And I just dropped the poem, and then after, you had a whole line of people. I got $82. So like throughout 6 months, I would go to Rotary clubs, do a PowerPoint presentation on the program, and then I got $14,000 in 6 months. And then I want to also say that there's drama in our organization, in our program, Like, could you imagine putting people from all over the world together? Like, we clash every day. But the cool thing is that we can clash and then look at each other and say, okay, I disagree. I'll take a deep breath, and I'm going to try to understand you. And work around you, work with you. So don't let this presentation just be like, oh, yeah, kumbaya, GOP. Rather, no, seriously, like we embrace, every spectrum of emotions, and we bring it to the table. So I mean, I don't want to talk about drama, but it was intense. Could you imagine 40 students from all over the world?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Paul Grant, and I used to be a young leader once. On the ILA board, and to see that several other ILA board members there. And we want to say thank you, not only to Heather for establishing the program, also to Graham Cole, also to Angel, Barbara, Sebastian, and Virginia, because you are great examples of what ILA really stands for.
Thank
and
you.
You are inspiring us, and we are going to. So we need you guys to continue to do it, and other people involved in young leadership issues to continue to do it. And our job is really to see how ILA can help you. So we need to hear your voices and be involved in developing and growing ILA as well. So we can do more of this in the future. And we know that funding is an issue in French, and that is all sort of part of the discussion that we need to get involved in, you guys need to get involved in as well. So we want to say thank you to you.
I needed to stretch. I'm going to David School Leadership at Cal State University. And I want to talk to the board members for a second. Look around the room. These are phenomenal folks. This room should be packed. My colleagues who are at colleges and universities, shame on them. They're not in this room. This is these wonderful, wonderful young people who are making a difference. They're not for the future. They're making a difference today. Today. When I say shame on ILA for not more people being here, not more people of the dominant culture being here. If you look around the room, there are a lot of people of minorities here who are called minorities. I don't like to use that term.
But I want to see more white Anglo-Saxons who are running major programs in this country listening to this. If we talk about globalization, mean it. I want you to take the message back and say, Bill White said it. Let them know that I said it. And I'm going to talk to the President and others in ILA and say, what are we doing to make sure that this message is going across ILA, not just people talking to each other? I'll stop because that's time.
Thank you.
Why not?
Of course, I love you guys. So I think the commitment is that we are going through a generational shift now, just like in my generation, when Kennedy said the torch has been passed to new generations. And of course, the election of Barack Obama signified that. And so we, the leaders, have to make a real commitment. I spend the majority of my time now with young leaders and emerging leaders because I know the change is coming. And it's not just a change in generation, it's also a change in the type of people and organization and people of color that will be at the leadership helm. So I think it does take a redefinition of who we are as leaders, what is happening, and how can we help make this happen. And these, of course, they're the greatest example when you see something like this, but we need to see this everywhere.
Thank you. We have 1 minute.
Yeah, we have one last minute. One question. People often ask if you can adopt them. That's
Gamma, Satya.
Just to reinforce, I've been to several of these ILA conferences and to notice that, to address Bill's point, that there is an increase in young leaders participating, and I think that is very inspiring to see this wave. I call it a wave, and I think there is an opportunity here for the former young leaders to ride that wave, because for me it's very exciting to see this and be inspired. And I think it goes beyond just a conference. And I think we have the meeting, we feel inspired, but I think the real work is not what takes place here at the conference, it's what you do afterwards. So don't lose that fire. You brought some fire here, you're inspiring us, but when you keep it going.
Thank you. Cynthia?
Okay, as the president of the ILA.
Debate.
There are a number of things that I told them this. First of all, I have adopted. 3 of the 4, but Angel, can I adopt you as well?
I've already adopted Angel.
Why?
Heather needs to be acknowledged as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In terms of her work and the vision that she has done. But there are some things that have happened starting for me last year, but I know it's been prior to that. But these are impact players. And the things that the ILA stands for in terms of embracing diversity, embracing change, in impact players, global citizenship, and crossing those intersections. I love, Angel, what you talked about. It's not kumbaya, right? But you have the respect for each other, and you truly want to make a difference. So you do reflect it. And as Lana talked about, this all takes time. This is an evolution, but it's also a revolution. So it's the present, and it's the future, and it's the past, and it's coming together and doing some tremendous things. So you know you have our support, and you know, and I know all of you. I have a feeling they're just going to walk up to me right after this. I want to hear it home. For all that you're doing, and for all much more that I know. Not only what's up here, but what's out here, what's in here, and the folks who we haven't even envisioned that are going to be a part of what you are doing. Right? So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more hand back there.
That's
go ahead.
our last comment.
Stand up. That's you.
Yeah.